I'd like to call to order the Joint Health and Human Service and Finance Audit and Budget Committee's meeting of Tuesday, February 6, 2024 at 3 p.m. If we could please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to item 3, which is adoption of the agenda. Can I get a motion to adopt?
The agenda.
Support Zinner.
Motion by Romano, supported by Zinner. Please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 12-0.
Moving on to approval of the minutes. Approval of the minutes for the Joint Health and Human Service Finance Audit and Budget Committee meetings of January 22nd. Can I get motion?
So move, Perna.
Support Van Sickle.
Motion by Perna, supported by Van Sickle. Please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to public participation. This is the first opportunity for public participation for those who wish to speak a maximum of 3 minutes on any item on today's agenda. There will be a second opportunity at the end of the meeting. You can speak on any issue. Anyone wish to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll close public participation and move on to item 6, which is a presentation by Martha T. Berry, scheduled report. Can I get a motion to receive and file?
So moved by Nard.
Motion by Nard, supported by Van Sickle. Thank you. How are you?
Above average, thank you. I did send a presentation over. I don't see that up, but that's fine. Today, we wanted to talk a little bit about the budget process. I understand the next item on the agenda is the approval of our amendment. Just to recap, we provide a draft budget in the budget process around June or July. According to our joint operating agreement, we're supposed to submit a final budget to you by December 1st, before December 1st, according to JOA. So we'll have to get that cleaned up. But the reason that the agreement was that we have it a little bit later is we always have to make changes to that amended budget. The reason that we have to do that is we don't know what our rate is going to be. After the cost report is done, and all of the audits are done by the state of Michigan for all the facilities, they put them all together and then determine what our rate is. So we got our rate in November. In addition to that, we had a collective bargaining agreement where we had to negotiate a wage increase, and we didn't know what that was going to be, so that's also baked into this amendment. Lastly, we converted from an operational budget to an appropriations budget. And the difference is enterprise versus an appropriations is with the enterprise budget, you're looking at ideal conditions, and appropriations, you're looking at higher predictions on costs and expenses to make sure you don't go over that in a reasonable sense. So we have our census set at 212 on that. And we had it originally on the original budget, we had it set, I think, at 208 or 209, I think is what it was. So we made some minor changes on that. Any questions on the budget as you saw it?
Does anyone have any questions at this time? Nope, seeing no questions. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
As always, for coming out and keeping us informed on what's going on. Can we please vote?
Crystal, if you did not get that presentation, then you always. So they have a copy of it.
Oh, was there supposed to be one?
There was one sent
Did you want
last
to
week.
know it?
We have to vote on
I
it
don't have
for
it.
Stephen
Oh,
Fires.
okay.
No worries.
Did it not pop up?
Not for me.
I'll try it again.
There you go.
There we go.
We just didn't get Commissioner Hawes. Yes vote? Thank you. Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to item 7. And the first item is actually a budget amendment from Martha T. Berry in the amount of $1,921,686. $1,921,686. Mr. Evans, I don't know if anyone's going to have any questions, but he
Motion
kind
to
of
move
already
to full
explained.
board.
Thank you.
Support, Wallace?
Motion by Van Sickle, supported by Wallace. Okay, I see no speakers, so can we please vote?
I didn't get Commissioner Hawes either. Is yours not popping? Did it
Not
pop up?
popping up.
Okay.
Did he show up?
Oh, mine didn't.
Excuse me?
Motion passes 12-0.
Did you get my vote?
Yes.
All right, so now we're moving on to item B, which is a budget amendment for Macomb Community Action, Supportive Services for Veteran Service Families, grant award for the Memorandum of Agreement with Oakland Livingston Human Service Agency. And we have Mr. Scott here.
The motion,
Can I get a motion to move to full board?
motion to.
Support, Perna.
Recommend to full board.
Motion by Grott, support by Perna. Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you all
Good.
today? Thanks for your time this afternoon. This is a budget amendment for us because of a change in the MOA between Macomb Community Action and Oakland Livingston Human Services Agency. We provide services to veterans and veteran families that might be facing homelessness using these funds. They are the grantee and we are a sub-grantee. Because we are a government entity. And so the spending period for this particular grant was supposed to end January 1st, excuse me. We've been granted an extension through March 31st, as well as an additional $130,000 worth of funding to put towards this effort. And so we are here before you with this amendment.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions? Seeing none, can we please vote? Yes.
Yes. Where? Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There's a vote.
Any opposed?
Okay, motion passes 12-0.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now we're going to move on to item C, which is to rescind medical examiner appointment of Dr. Dragovic to medical examiner appointment of Dr. Pietrangelo. And we have Mr. Cox here.
Motion to recommend.
Motion to recommend to full board.
Support.
That's all right. Motion by Grott, supported by Nard. Thank you. How are you?
Good, Commissioners. How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
Now, I'm sure I botched the last name, so could you say it for me?
Dr. Pietrangelo? Is that?
Angelo.
See, we all need practice.
Nice
All
Italian
need
name.
practice.
Thank you.
So I am really pleased and have really good news that we have hired a chief forensic pathologist. And she is a familiar name to a lot of you, perhaps. Maybe some of you have not been able to meet Mary before, but we are so fortunate to have Mary and her years of experience and her ability to work with our office and the community. She has been nothing but great with bringing others from the outside, whether it be shadowing opportunities or engaging community partners. There's a lot of interest around the medical examiner's office that people have from the community. And she's been nothing but open to bringing those individuals in and demonstrating how the office works and what we actually do in the office. She's also gone to different conferences and also trainings. She's worked with our Police Chief Association on doing trainings for law enforcement, works very closely with our prosecutor's office as well. And I am very pleased and very happy that we've hired her. Her first day was January 22nd as an employee in the medical examiner's office. So what we need today from you all is to rescind the appointment of Dr. Dragovic and appoint Mary here today for a 4-year term. What this will allow us to do is we have not yet become fully staffed. We wanted to first start with our chief Now that we have her and Mary, we're going to hopefully get those chief deputy positions as soon as possible. And when we're fully staffed, we'll be able to fully bring everything over. But what we're able to do right now is start bringing bodies right now with the support of Oakland County. Now that support, as you know, was in contract for a year. My goal was always to get this done before that year term. So this is really good news for us that we're starting to bring bodies back here to Macomb County in our office, where really that was the plan all the time. I think when I met with you in October, one of you asked a great question of, ideally, when do we get our chief medical examiner? And I told you, ideally, it would be the beginning of this year. And I'm so happy that we have Mary, and she's decided to accept and stay on with us. She has 11 years of experience. She started in 2012, in July of 2012 at the office. So she's got plenty of experience, has seen a lot of the work and development. She is recognized by the staff as someone that's approachable, a leader there that they can go to. So with all that, we hope that you also can go to Mary whenever you need to her. And I'd be happy to let her say a few words if she'd like to. Thanks, Mary.
Hi, the pronunciation of my name is Dr. Pietrangelo. I am not at all offended if it's Dr. P. It's just easier that way. It keeps people from stumbling over it. I am very excited to continue on this way. I'm looking so forward to getting the office staffed and back up to full speed. It has been painful watching bodies go elsewhere, and I'm very excited that they're coming back to Macomb.
Thank you. Commissioner Zinner?
Thank you, Chair. When I read about you, you have a great and esteemed history, or that isn't the right word that I want, esteemed career, I'm sorry to say that. I know that being taken as the coroner I think it's a great responsibility, of course, and I appreciate your background. I appreciate you taking over, and I feel like it's going to be, I want to say, a breath of fresh air to have you in leadership there. I know that when I read the information that we have here, that there is a high standard, of course, as we would expect. As of February 13th, the law has changed in regard to fetal tissue and fetal remains. I would expect that you will still have the high standards, and I want to thank you at this time for continuing with those high standards that I know you will have. And I wish you good luck and good fortune for our county and for you. And it is very nice to personally meet you and have you here. And I'm very happy you're going to be our coroner. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Romano.
Thank you, Chair. Welcome, Dr. Pietrangelo. I like the full name. I like that full last, that nice sounding Italian name. I noticed also that you did some work for St. Clair County and some other. Are we going to have your full attention? Are you still going to be able to, do you understand my question? Or maybe
I do, yes.
Would you go up to the microphone, please? Thank you.
Yes, I understand your question, and I have been working with St. Clair County on a fairly limited basis for 11 years. It's not really been a question of taking my full attention. They're very flexible when they need some help, that I can go up on evenings, I can go up on weekends. I'm still appointed as their deputy medical examiner and have been since 2012. And if it were to become a problem, I'm sure it will be brought to your attention. And then we have to make some decisions about that.
I just hope you don't get too busy here in Macomb. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Brown?
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. Welcome aboard officially, and we're taking the head of this agency is important. It's had some troubled past, and we're looking forward to new leadership there and to direct this forward without any drama like we've had in the past. How do you envision your role taking over? How do you envision that department moving forward under your leadership? What improvements do you like to see in the operation? Maybe it's in response times to going out so can you please speak to what your vision is?
Well, my vision is, first of all, stability, and secondly, collaboration with other institutions such as Gift of Life, University of Michigan, and being partnered with them as far as the studies and the information and data that they need for their projects.
How do they benefit? How do we benefit from collaborating with the University of Michigan?
We benefit from being at the table. We benefit in the way someone does when they're sharing resources. And data is a big resource. And it's with data that informed decisions can be made. And so we'd like to be a part of that.
What information would they get that would affect how you do your job?
Well, I don't think it would affect how I do my job. It would reflect essentially some of the data from death certificates, particularly in two fields. One is drug overdose deaths, and another is firearm deaths. And so they're trying to get information statewide, and I don't have any inclination to not participate with them.
What do you expect? Going to Commissioner Romano's question, how much time will that take? Will you be preoccupied interacting with all these other agencies rather than focusing on the job at hand?
I don't think so. I have a very supportive director and staff, and we're talking computer stuff, okay? We're talking about data going across, and I don't believe it will be at all prohibitive for us to participate.
Was that not going on previously? Were we
I'm
asking?
not, I don't know. I wasn't in on a lot of the decision-making for that, and so I don't know specifically.
Well, we're looking forward to the good things with you. Mr. Cox is an outstanding individual, it's administrator, and you'll have all the support you could possibly ask for. And we look forward to good things over there. And so, very good. Congratulations and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Officially as head of the department.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Cox, for bringing it. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner Perna.
Thank you, Dr. P, right?
Sure.
Congratulations. Couple of questions. Are we still obligated to Oakland County for how long?
We are not obligated to Oakland County for anything. They are a per service fee. Our contract with them is good for a year, from October is when we signed that, from October 2023.
Is there a financial obligation we have with them if we have an examiner now?
We only pay for them, it's a monthly invoice, we only pay what we utilize them for. We're under no obligation to utilize them for a certain amount of services.
And Doctor, do you think now, under your control, the results are going to be faster than what they have been? How do you improve or correct that?
Do you mean results, do you mean death certificates?
Yes.
I think that we have a fairly good record of death certificate completion. We've been accredited by the National Association of Medical Examiners, and they have their own set of requirements that you need to meet as far as that. And we've always met them, or we would not have met our accreditation.
Is there a standard that all examiners have to comply with on a certain case, period of time for results?
The standards are overall 90 days for a completion of a record of a case. And for accredited offices, I mean, that's one of the things that makes or breaks your accreditation. And so we've been able to meet that. Many offices that aren't accredited and are in less served areas, they struggle a lot. And I don't foresee that being a problem. From my perspective, we haven't had that problem. I know it's very common for someone in the public to say, "What takes so long?" And I tell them what takes so long. It all depends on the case. Some cases are more involved than others. We want to get it right the first time. But, we get toxicology on probably 90% of our cases, and that takes some time to come back. We have microscopic studies performed on many of our cases, and that takes time to not only come back, but then to actually interpret and put into our interpretations into writing and into a report. And so, the volume that Macomb sees is abundant. It's large, and we'll obviously do better when we're fully staffed and when we have doctors. My role is to try and recruit some physicians. That's a challenge. There are, on the NAME website, about 60 open positions across the country, and that's just for the ones that are advertising on that website. So the best bets are trying to recruit somebody coming out of fellowship or convincing someone from another office. Like many areas in medicine, the practitioners are getting older, retiring, or dying, and the influx is not keeping up with the outflux.
How do you handle families? Do you think families contact you directly for results?
There are some families that do, and I am always welcome to talk to any family members to explain my findings, and to let them talk, because actually most of the time, that's what they want to do. They want to talk, and my findings are just a little incidental, but I have always welcomed speaking to the families of the decedents. If I can't speak to them the minute that they call, I tell them, well, leave a phone number and I'll call you back when I can.
So you have an open door policy. If families call you regarding their delay or insurance reasons or what have you, you will accommodate their request.
Yes, I have an open door policy for that.
And my last question is, if you can't comfortably come up with a results, do you engage other counties to assist you in your opinion?
Well, I think that's what we're doing now with Oakland. They've been a major resource since October until the present time. And they're a county that we can fall back on to help out until the staffing becomes more reasonable.
But your decision is final, am I correct?
So they say. I mean, it's like at home, my decision is final. Well,
But do you ever go out for outside assistance to make your decision final?
When you say outside assistance, what you?
Your
refer-
opinion, this person deceased because of that, but you're not sure. So do you look for outside influence to
No,
corroborate
I-
your decision?
No, I don't make up my mind on the disposition of a case until I've got what I think I need to do that. There was a recent trial in Macomb just this past week, and my decision as far as manner of death was indeterminate. And indeterminate means that there are equally competing manners of death. No one takes precedent over the other. And so that was a challenging case for the prosecutor's office to handle, because here's your medical examiner saying, I don't know, it could be this or it could be that. But it's a valid manner of death. And what a lot of people don't understand about manner of death is that it's not a legal determination whatsoever. It is a classification that's developed for vital statistics to keep their records. So regardless of what I put on the line as far as manner, the prosecutor's office is completely independent of deciding if there's legal culpability involved.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Perna. Commissioner Van Sickle?
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon and welcome.
Hi, thank you.
You've mentioned a couple times that your office is not fully staffed. I realize you've only been there a week or two. Do you have any thoughts as to how long it might take to staff up?
Well, I think I think Oakland, it took them a year to become adequately, to fill a position. Okay, they were adequately staffed to begin with, and they had an open position that took a long time to fill. We do have a physician who has been working with Macomb County for about 5 years as a locum tenens type, who will come 1 week a month, and she's going to continue on in that capacity, which I'm tremendously thankful for.
Is there a backlog currently of your clients, whatever?
Well, not mine. I mean, I was finished when Spitz Pathology gave notice that they were going to cut ties with the county. We had the 90 days to complete all of our cases, and that would have brought us to like January 11th. And I was done by Christmas time. So essentially, last week, I just started cutting again. And, it's always a goal. I mean, you don't want to leave people hanging out there at loose ends. And it's very important to me and to our office to do that.
And it'll be interesting later in the year to get some information from you as to whether you think the coroner's office is right-sized.
I mean, our particular office.
Personnel-wise, yes.
Personnel-wise,
But
yeah.
I don't expect you to make a statement on that now, but possibly later in the year, whether we need more people, fewer people, whatever, for that office.
Sure.
Thank
Well, and
you.
I think that's so great, Commissioner, because I think what you see here today with Mary is Krista Willett, the Director of the Health Department, and then also Dan Mediah, the Director of the Medical, not the Medical Examiner, or the Medical Examiner's Office. For the first time ever, we have a multidisciplinary team that will look at that and assess those things. And I think that's something that was missing in the past. So that's why I'm so confident that Mary, at the table, we can have those discussions about, what does this office need in order for our office, which I believe will be the best office, not only in the state, but one of the best offices in the country.
Yeah. New leader, new thoughts, maybe new processes, maybe more
Absolutely.
efficient.
There's already been some great changes already that have already taken place just with the partnership between Mary and Dan on how to do things more efficient. And I think that goes exactly to Commissioner Perna's question about time frame too. There are certain things that we have to rely on third parties to do for samples and labs and toxicology reports. But we look at, are there any ways that we can minimize that? And then also the partners we're using, does it still make sense to use the same person? We're looking at all of it to make sure that we're being efficient. That quality improvement is in the office.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
So I have one quick question. So you said that she was hired on the 22nd. So has she been doing have we been still utilizing Oakland County because we hadn't approved this yet, or has she been doing the services?
Yes, this week, we had been using Oakland County. I did the first 2 weeks. Oakland's going to do this week. I'll be on the following week. We've got quite a rotation worked out, and then the other physician that comes to help us out will be in that rotation.
Okay. So we didn't need to do this approval for her to start? No.
No, the hiring process is separate from the appointment process that you all as a board are appointing her as the medical examiner.
So basically, Dragovic just had to sign off as the chief.
Correct. She's under right now
today,
until
or
you
the full
all,
board.
till it goes to full board, she's under Oakland County, and then it'll flip once you approve that.
Okay. For round 2, Commissioner Brown.
And Mr. Cox, on a process question, the other medical examiner we had did other jobs. He moonlighted, did other work outside of our morgue. He took bodies out of our morgue, sometimes to St. Clair County to do work, so I understand. Are we going to make sure that those procedures aren't allowed with the new person we have in place, that there be no taking work out per se to some other facility to do work?
I have all the confidence in the world in Mary, and she will lead a ethical office that
But I mean, you've got procedures,
responds
yeah.
to
I mean, but
the
you've
needs
got
of Macomb
standards,
County.
right? You've established rules that will not be allowed since she's more of she's our employee, right?
Correct, and I think that was one of the reasons why we wanted to make the change from contractual to county employee to have that type of relationship and that oversight, and also just simply the communication. Mary's willing to do whatever really that we have in place and have that conversation. She might not always agree with us, but so far she has, and it has been so refreshing. She, had begged me to let her start before the 22nd, but I, needed to do the paperwork to get her in as a county employee. I have no question her work ethic and that she will be in the office all the time.
Or just we don't want to use our facilities for their own private gain outside of the county contract is what I don't want to have happen, which may or may not have happened previously. So
I wanted to start as early as I could. I couldn't, so I cleaned the refrigerator in the office, and I cleaned the microwave in the office, and some cupboards, and the toaster oven too, so used my time effectively.
So how long do you envision your contract with St. Clair County? What's the need to have, can't St. Clair County manage on their own? Why do they need to use one of our employees again? It's our employee now. I mean, is
It's
that
typical
something that,
often to help and assist other counties in need. We've done that. Sometimes there's some coverage.
well, they've helped, Oakland County's helped us in our time, obviously, so.
Correct.
But-
Even, we've helped Genesee County. Genesee County Medical Examiner has come down as well with Dr. Hunter for coverage reasons. So sometimes there might be overlapping, vacancies, or perhaps there's a conference that some of our physicians need to attend. So we'll look at coverage in that way. And so I think that arrangement is very similar for St. Clair County. We've always been a really great partner of St. Clair County and helping them out when they need. But I can tell you again that she is our medical examiner, and she will be doing our work as the primary focus of her job.
Thank you. Thank you,
Commissioner
Madam Chairwoman.
Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Doctor. Just kind of following up with Commissioner Brown relative to the St. Clair issue. I know, I've been here for a number of years, and we've had a lot of, let's say, situations, but with the previous medical examiner, obviously. I was excited to hear that the executive office was moving more to a county employee rather than a subcontract type relationship. Do you feel that there's any type of conflict of interest with you remaining on the St. Clair board relative to being their medical examiner as well as ours?
Well, I'm not the chief there, and I'm the deputy, and it's always been for coverage issues. A single medical examiner for a county is not going to be available all of the time. And so at those points for like vacations, then I would help out.
Who is the current chief medical examiner for St. Clair?
Dan Spitz.
Okay. Is that relationship similar to what we had here previously as a contractual relationship?
It used to be, but I think that he has more administrative responsibilities at this point. He has more budget control and probably just more overall control.
Okay. So you're the backup. If he's not available, then you would fill in. Is there
If I can,
if
and
you
that's the
can.
understanding.
Is there another additional deputy there, or is it just the two of you?
For St. Clair,
For
it's
St. Clair.
just the two of us.
Just the two. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Well, I would just like to say thank you. I look forward to working with you, and I'm excited that we finally filled the position. And thank you to Andrew for doing in a timely manner, because I know that was one of the concerns that a lot of us had. So we appreciate it. Welcome, and thank you guys both for coming out today.
When's our first tour? No.
That's right.
Can we get a motion to vote, please?
Motion is in our,
Oh, we already have a motion. We just
okay,
voted. Sorry.
what do you want? You can have it all.
I'm just missing Commissioner Romano's.
Oh,
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
thank you very much.
All right, and at this time, I will pass it over to Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next for Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee, 9A, this is a presentation, Treasurer's Office for the 2023 third and fourth quarter quarterly reports. I need a motion to receive and file.
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Haas, supported by Commissioner Nard. I know we have Deputy Treasurer F.C.A.P. Macron here, and also our Deputy Treasurer of Investments, Christina Miller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. As required by the board and the depository agreement that we have, their third and fourth quarterly reports for 2023. Christine and I have discussed this thoroughly, and she has advised me that I can now sit down and she will explain it to you.
All right, there you go.
I am available for any questions if anybody has any.
Question, how much do you rely on the Bauer rating?
Commissioner Perna.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My computer wasn't working
We
quick enough.
recognize, Mr. Brennan.
So your question was how regarding the Bauer rating?
The Bauer rating is it's been around for years and years. So do you really look at that?
We do look at that. We look at their market capitalization. We also look at their, a few other ratings. We do research on the banks and whatnot. So that is not the only tool that we use.
So those that are B plus or not available, is that a concern that you should continue with them, or?
Well, the Robinson rating is not available for the Michigan Schools and Government because it's a credit union. So the Robinson Capital doesn't offer a Robinson rating because it is a credit union.
I think we brought this up once before, maybe with Skip. When you invest in these institutions, do they give you the additional insurance to protect that money
at their cost, or is it our cost?
They do not do that.
Have you ever asked them to?
We have looked into it, and it's just not something that that most banks don't offer that. In the past, we've tried to, made sure we had our investment spread between several banks. And we are very heavy currently in treasuries because it's got backed by the government. So we have leaned back a little bit from CDs and government pool accounts.
So as you know, a couple of years ago, some major banks failed. Okay?
Yes.
But I know that there's insurance available for institutions that invest with banks or credit unions that can request the depository to give additional insurance that their monies are protected. You're saying you don't ask any of those institutions to offer
They do
that?
not offer that. I mean, I can,
Well, this is not the question they offered. Have you ever solicited them and say,
yes, we actually, let me let Skip step in.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, when I first got to the office, this is one of the discussions Christine and I had when I looked at the amount of the investments and the level that's insured by the FDIC. There's a commitment from the President of the United States right now that no U.S. bank will be allowed to fail and all of the monies will be covered. He did that by, I believe, by executive order. Whether or not that's enforceable under the full faith and credit clause, another question, of course, Corporation Counsel could speak to that. The problem that we have is that insurance, as most people know, covers everything except what's excluded. And if you peel back the layers of the onion, a lot of that coverage would be excluded in any event. It would almost be a false hope. So what happens is Christina monitors not only the weighting of accounts, the laddering of accounts, when the monies are due, and whether they be put into treasury bills, which are backed by the full faith and credit of the United States, or CDs. And I've been very impressed with her ability to manage these accounts. As to the extent of asking, we can go to each one of these depositories and say, do you offer the insurance? And if so, would you be willing to do it for us? We'll be happy to ask that question. We can report the answer to you. Not a problem. I don't know whether the insurance would be worth it in terms of what the discount on the rate would be, but I can tell you this. She's also done a remarkable job where, for example, an institution offers 4.2%. And because she's observed how that institution has leveraged its money, where it's standing at, she'll call and say, can you make an exception? I'll take it to committee. She's been pretty persuasive and gotten a better rate. Right now, as I say, last year, I reported we brought in 31 million, or she brought in 31 million in interest. That's quite an amount over what was done the year before. A lot of that has to do with the rates of interest and money. But as far as insurance goes, sure, we'll be happy to ask. There's no harm from it. Again, it might be an illusory promise, but we'll do it.
so if an institution says, yeah, we'll insure it, we're going to give you 4. If we insure it, we're going to only give you 3.
Well, it would be not 3, but it would be less than 4. And that's where we feel, given the status of banks within the United States of America and the current administration's position on it, we believe that it would be in the people's best interest to garner as much credit or much interest as we can through instruments that are either guaranteed by the full faith and credit of the United States directly or through the FDIC and any extension the White House has given.
So in your opinion, all of our investments with all of these institutions are protected, in your opinion, that we'll never lose anything?
There's always a chance you can lose something.
Right, but you feel comfortable at this point?
I have a comfort level, but I tell you what, we will ask. Let's just ask, and we can pursue that more formally, and then we'll report back to you so that the entire board can have a view of that from the 30,000-foot level. There's no harm in it. It's a great question.
Thank you.
Sure.
And just to follow up on that too, I know previous Deputy Biondo looked into this on a third-party insurance, and it was cost prohibitive to get that. So, but Commissioner Pruner will
I
follow
have
up with
absolutely
the
no problem
treasurer.
contacting all the institutions we deal with.
Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How many institutions do you have money in out of the 16 on the list?
Give me 1 second. I would say for the Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union, at this point, we do not. I would say almost all of them. If some of those may have changed after the first quarter.
Okay.
may change, but for the most part, we
Roughly, yeah.
have funds in all of the institutions, other than the Michigan Schools of Government.
And procedurally, do you have a limit as to a certain percentage of our funds that you can have in any one
We
institution?
don't go over, we try to stick around 5%. We may go a little bit over that, but, so I would say between 5 and 10, but we don't go over 10% by any means.
Okay.
The other thing is that if you look at the paperwork that was included in the packet, it will show that we, obviously with the treasuries, we do go over in treasuries, but they're backed by the government, so we don't, that's an exception. We have about 70, in the fourth quarter report, there's about 71% of that is with treasuries currently, so.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
And as well as on top of it being with treasuries, for the most part was offering the highest rate, which was very nice,
Okay,
so.
thank you.
Christina, quick question.
Sure.
I was going to ask in regards to how the credit unions were going based on that change that we made previously, and that you just said that we're no longer with the credit union.
So
What was the
we
reason
never
behind
put
that?
any money in with Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union. They just didn't have their rates were very low, so we just hadn't, utilized them. Dearborn Financial Credit Union was the same. They were even lower, so we hadn't used either of those. When we first looked at Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union, they were very enticing with their rates, and it seemed like something had changed by the time we were available to use them. But we definitely keep in contact and get all of the rates, and we do that on sometimes 2 times a week, 3 times a week, we get the rates, so.
Are we invested in all of Macomb County banks, everyone that's located in Macomb County?
I would say for the most part, the answer would be yes. There are a few of obviously the credit unions were not, and there might be a few banks that we are not either. We did put the bid out for depositories, so, we look at that as well.
Okay, great. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Did it already come? Did it already come? Barb is a yes. Zinner's a yes.
I'm missing Commissioner Song, Commissioner Ha.
Yeah, I didn't even see it.
Commissioner Ha's yes, okay, thank you. Okay, motion passes 12-0.
Okay, next item is 10A. This is a resolution 2024-11962, designating public fund depositories in compliance with Act 40 Public Act of 1932 as amended. I need a motion to recommend this to full board.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Hall, supported by Commissioner Grout.
No, I didn't see it.
Christina, you have the floor.
I am available for any questions regarding
You're taking that route, aren't you? Okay.
I did answer some of I did touch base on a few of those in the other conversation. But we
Obviously,
did
this is
take off the Dearborn Financial Credit Union. We have not added anyone at this point. And if we feel that we want to add someone, obviously we would come to the board to do so.
So it's obviously the only change from the previous.
That was the only change.
Can you put my name on there?
Any questions? I had
No, we're testing the.
Oh, you're testing? Okay. Playing tricks on me here. Okay, no questions. Thank you, Christina. Please vote.
Thank you.
Thank you, Skip.
I don't have a vote again.
Tell you something?
Yeah. You stole my vote.
I can take your verbal vote.
Zinner, yes. Quit stealing my vote.
Okay.
Are we going
Motion
old-fashioned
passes
today?
12-0.
Okay,
Thank you very much. Have a good weekend, or a good
Bye.
day.
thank you.
Let's
Are we
get
good,
into
Crystal?
Cars, trucks.
Okay, next is purchase of a number of vehicles. So I'll take a motion to recommend 10B through 10I to full board.
So moved.
Support Lucido.
Moved by Commissioner Van Sickle, supported by Commissioner Lucido. Nicole,
Hello, everybody.
Talk to them all in one, I guess. And
Okay.
we'll ask questions after.
Okay, so basically, it's just all the vehicles for 2024, putting them all in, order banks opened, so I was able to secure some slots. The first one on the list is for the sheriff's office, set team. It's just another undercover vehicle. It's replacing a vehicle that has high mileage, excessive wear and tear. That is an Edge in the amount of $47,760. The other vehicles are also, there's 5 for Public Works. They're for their different districts. Do you want me to go over like where the money's coming from or
For each one, if they're coming from
different?
budgets, I guess.
Okay, so the set one's actually coming out of the set forfeiture, the set state forfeiture budget. The Public Works, they have them all coming out of different ones. There's an F-150 coming out of the Soil Erosion Equipment Fund. There's another F-150 coming out of the Drain Construction Operations Equipment Fund. Another coming out of the Drain Maintenance Operations Equipment Fund. Another coming out of the Chapatin Pump Station Operations Drain Budget. And then the last one there coming out of the Wastewater Operations MIDD budget. That total for that purchase is $217,952. Then there's another for Lunghamer for dispatch. They have their own vehicle budget that is approved through their dispatch funds. They are requesting an additional vehicle to go to and from trainings to keep up with the state requirements that are mandated for all the dispatchers. That is a Ford Edge in the amount of $43,183. And then there is animal control, 2 Ford Explorers. They're the Interceptors, similar to the police models. And then they're just upfit, obviously different for animal control. Theirs are replacing 2 that are really bad, that we actually needed to replace last year, but couldn't find them. The total for that with upfitting and graphics is going to be $156,140. And then the sheriff's office, they are replacing 1, they're actually getting 9, I believe. 9 Ford Explorers with upfitting and graphics for a total of $416,414. Animal control and the sheriff's office are all coming out of the general fund new vehicle budget for the year. That was already approved by Steve. That's for Lunghamer. Then if you move over to Todd Wenzel, there are 3 different purchases through there. There is 1 purchase for the sheriff's office, which is going to be 14 Equinoxes, which is currently going to replace their admin Equinoxes, or I'm sorry, their admin vehicles, which are like Fusions. Those are purchased in 2013 as a whole too, so those have well over 100,000 miles in some of them. Some of them are fast encroaching 100,000 miles. There's a lot of wear and tear. There's a lot of damage. There's a lot of rust. They're constantly in the garage. So they're requesting to replace all those for a total of $434,042. The executive's office is replacing a 2016 Fusion, 2016 Taurus that has over 127,000 miles with an Equinox for that purchase price of $33,614. And the health department is replacing a 2014 Fusion with over 135,000 miles on it for also the same purchase price of $33,614. Those 3 purchases are all coming out of the general fund as well.
Commissioner Wallace.
Thank you. Just a quick question. I know for the mental health board, we were supposed to get vehicles and then we didn't. Are you familiar?
So I did talk to Tracy and we just put an order in for 2 Broncos. They just sent over a PO. So we just ordered 2 Broncos that are replacing older vehicles. That PO was actually already generated and sent over to the dealership.
Okay. Do you know, like, was there something originally done wrong or?
That they got a whole bunch of new vehicles last year.
Okay, like I guess, so what I'm asking is originally we like had to have a meeting about like the vehicles that we thought we were getting and then it fell through, but you're saying that now that we are getting Broncos, so,
So I know last year they had wanted a bunch, and I had gotten a few. Actually, I think over the last couple of years, we've slowly replaced a lot of the older ones. This year, we were talking about replacing 3. We ended up only replacing 2, and they did already send a purchase order over to Lunghamer for 2 Broncos,
okay,
which are going to replace 2 of the older vehicles.
okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Nicole, can you talk about you said the 14 Equinoxes for the sheriff's office? You said they're for admin purposes.
Yeah,
What
so
are they
they're
used
for like
primarily?
DB, all the guys in DB, some of the different like sergeant positions that, go to different substations, things like that. Like IA that go to different areas. They were originally purchased in a lot, the 14 of them back in 2012, 2013. They were purchased as a whole. So now they're all just ready to expire at the same time, obviously, because they rotate them based on mileage, so they can kind of keep them. So one doesn't get 100,000 and one only has 10,000. They're all kind of rusty. They come in for service all the time. There's always something either silly wrong with it or really wrong with it. So they're constantly in there, and they don't really have spares. If they're doing surveillance, they have had a few times where they've been in predicaments where their cars wouldn't move or their cars wouldn't start just because something faulty or like the battery died or a tire went out or something like that. So that's a big concern of theirs if they are out on like a detail. And then just aesthetically, like when you're going to somebody's house for an incident report or things like that, the cars are really starting to look a little bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just, I'm just curious, like, in regards to like an Equinox, why are we picking an Equinox instead of just keeping like a
sedan?
consistent, like if, I mean, it's obviously being used for other things besides just going to substations. It's actually being used to go to homes and wherever.
Yes.
Wouldn't it make sense to keep the fleet consistent across the board?
So that is what they are trying to do. They no longer, the only sedan that they make now is a Malibu, and the price difference between a Malibu and an Equinox is very, very minimal, especially with the fleet pricing. And then with all the equipment and things like that that they put in the back of the cars, the Malibu just really isn't functional. So if they went to an SUV, they'd like to roll all their vehicles into an SUV, and by doing this, they're pretty much going to do that. They don't need something as extensive as an Interceptor for those vehicles because they don't need cages in the back or, a place to put somebody under arrest. It's basically just a place to carry their necessities and things like that.
Seeing no other questions, please vote. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, guys.
Nope. Commissioner Perna?
I did have one question.
Sure.
It didn't pop up on my screen, so.
When all these vehicles are replaced, the old vehicles go to the pool for auction?
Correct.
Do we ever have an employee day where the employees can bid before they go to the auction?
Truthfully, you probably wouldn't want half of the vehicles that get sent to the auction because they're pretty beat up. But no, they all have to go through general public. We've had that question a lot. And what I was told is because they are purchased with county dollars, that they have to go to the public for county auction, and nobody gets special precedence over the other.
I can't buy an old Jeep, right?
No, but they're pretty beat up by the time they go there, so I can't guarantee it's gonna be all that functional.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, seeing no other questions.
I got votes from everybody except Commissioner Lucido and Commissioner Perna.
It didn't pop up.
Okay.
You still had questions,
Thank
that's
you.
why.
All right, motion passes 12-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Okay, next is item 10J. This is amended meeting schedule. Move the April 16th, 2024 Finance Audit Budget Committee to a joint meeting with the April 17th, 2024 Records and Public Safety Committee meeting. Need a motion to recommend the full board?
So moved by Nard.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Nard, supported by Commissioner Romano. Seeing no questions, please vote.
this fixed by tomorrow.
Commissioner Hall is a yes. Okay, motion passes 12-0.
Okay, next is correspondence. Take a motion to receive and file correspondence items 11A and 11B, which are Central Intake and Assessment Center update for February 2024 and open bids as of February 6th, 2024.
So moved by Nard.
Moved by Commissioner Romano, supported by Commissioner Nard. Any questions?
I have one comment.
Commissioner Lucido?
Yes. Just under the open bids, there's just a typo on the very last one. It says that you'll look at the dates, can't be right. Because the posted date is before the ending date, or, after the ending date.
We'll get clarification on that. It's just a receive and file, so that's what was provided to us.
That's all I have.
Any other questions? Good catch. Seeing none, please vote.
Did you get a vote? Did the vote go through?
We can verbally.
Yes, I
Yes.
don't have a vote again.
Motion passes 12-0.
Okay, next is public participation. This is the opportunity for public participation for those who would like to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on any issue. Seeing no one from the public, we'll close public participation. Next is commissioner comments. I'm not getting there on my screen, so any commissioner comments?
Commissioner Perna.
Oh,
No,
Commissioner Perna.
I've received a few calls, not a lot, a few calls from employees of the county. You probably all on the same boat. You have not received your W-2s, am I correct?
Correct.
Nobody has. Or your 1099s for those that are retirees.
Correct.
What happened? Anybody know what happened with finance? I know they changed companies
Aren't
and,
there emails that covered that?
pardon?
There were emails that covered that.
Yes.
No, well, they said they had a change. They were mailed out on January the 31st. Today is the 6th. So they can blame it on the post office or they didn't mail it on the 31st. But employees are upset that they didn't get their 1099s or their W-2s. And you had to go online. But I understand also, when you go online, your total income gross is greater than your W-2 is by $5,000. So double check your W-2 online because it doesn't balance with your paychecks that you receive during the year. So which is correct? So just thought I'd throw that out there. So
Got your stuff
we'll find out maybe when our finance director gets here as to what happened, but there's been some lapse in receiving the 1099s or the W-2s for the employees of the county. And a lot of those employees live from federal income refund checks from year to year. So that's all I have to say.
Commissioner Brown?
I'll make an inquiry and find out for us. Thank you.
Any other comments? Seeing none, need a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
Support
Made by Commissioner Romano, supported by Commissioner Zinner. Thank you, commissioners. See you all tomorrow.